Okay, good morning. My name is Stephanie Comella, and we're here with PD Active doing a neuro-movement class for Parkinson's. What that means is just exploring our bodies in the context of our neurological system and how that relates to movement efficiency and how we feel in our bodies and how we perceive our bodies. We've been working on shoulder mobility and learning more about the shoulder through anatomy and movement experiences throughout the month of August. And so we're here for our second to last class addressing the shoulder. Today, we're going to be doing a little bit more mobility and self-massage using massage tools. So if you have release tools available to you, grab them now. You can use your letter ball. You can use an actual release ball. I've got lots of different sizes that I'll be sharing. More of like a smaller lacrosse ball, a tennis ball, or a dryer ball from your laundry room works great. Bring all of those release tools to your area so that way you can reach for them in the moment if you feel you need them. We're going to start on the mat with a little bit of an assessment for yourself. So go ahead and come down to the mat if you haven't already, and just laying on your back. And if you get there before the rest of the team, you can just go ahead and find your hook line position and do some hip rotation as a holding pattern, waiting for the rest of the group to get settled. This is never a bad idea. Always feels so good. Yeah. And we're going to start to take that knee drop a little bit further. Go ahead and let your legs fall over to the right side. Looking over your left shoulder now, we're going to stretch that left arm up past your ear as if you wanted to smell your left armpit. And then we'll collect from our core center, bringing the arm down and bringing the legs back to your start position. Let the legs fall over to the left. We're going to swing that right arm up overhead and look over your right shoulder or looking past your right armpit. And then we'll do that a few more times. So bringing the arm down, letting the legs fall over to the other side. Sweep the opposite arm up overhead. Good, just moving at a pace that makes sense for you. I would recommend a little bit of hesitation on each side to really open up and feel that stretch. Now, another strategy to get a little bit more out of this shape. If you think about reaching, so if your knees are to the left and your right arm is lifted, you're going to stretch your right shoulder up towards your ear and try to push your right knee in an exactly opposite direction that you're reaching your hand. So it's going to take tension all the way through from your knee all the way to the fingertips. Let's do that on the other side. So legs going over to the right, if you're with me. Left arm up overhead. Here's that shape, but then let's create some tension in the shape where you're stretching your left shoulder up towards your ear and trying to push your knee longer. And I know that's like a weird thing to think about, is like stretching your bones, but right here we can kind of push that energy of your leg out long. Oh, and it's causing a little body yawn in my body, even nice. That's a good sign. And then let's do ahead and down one more time each side. So knees go left, arm goes right, arm goes up. Reach your arm up as high as you can, shrug it into your shoulder and push your knee long in opposition to your hand. And then switching to the other side, we go over, big stretch, push your knee, reach your arm up long, open up, open up, open up, open up, open up. Good, good. And then return yourself back to that starting hook line position. I know that we did, oh, Carrie left us. That's all right. She'll pop back in. There she is. All right, so we're going to go feet flat, palms facing up. We've done this almost every class, at the beginning of every class. Sliding your knuckles along the floor, making a snow angel, or in some of our cases, a dog hair angel, as we bring the arms up past your ears. And taking note of how this feels in our body today. The differences between the right and the left sides of your shoulders, the right and left shoulder, the difference there. Does one arm lay heavier on the ground than the other? Does one arm not even touch the ground? Do both arms not even touch the ground? How comfortable do you feel just doing this? Or does it feel like your body is sort of in this holding pattern or resisting the motion? Does it make your body tense up more, bringing your arms up overhead or can you sort of just flap your wings with ease? Okay, so noticing both just the feeling that you get from the movement and then also the quality of the movement itself. We'll go one more snow angel, full range of motion all the way up towards your ears and then all the way down to the ground. All right, we're gonna do that collarbone massage that we talked about last week or a couple weeks ago. We're gonna do it on the mat though today. I'm gonna sit up so you can see what I'm doing, but feel free to just let yourself do it on the ground. Right here, you're gonna have your hand out to the side. Let's start with your right hand out to the side. And your left hand is gonna come across and come into the inside of your shirt. So skin to skin contact is best. We're gonna bring our fingertips all the way to the edge of your shoulder blade, tip of your shoulder. Traction the skin and the soft tissue just under this skin, pulling with the stickiness of your fingers, pulling it towards the center of your chest here, and then let go, and then reset. And so it's just kind of like the tackiness of your fingers. You're sort of gripping those tissues and pulling them to the center, creating a little bit of space in the front of your shoulder. And we're going to add an arm slide with that. So as you pull the tissues to the center of your chest, we're going to slide your arm up past your ear. Hopefully it's relatively close to the floor. And then release the tissue with your fingers and pull your elbow back down by your side. Okay, go ahead and work through that a few times. And I didn't mention before, if you feel like you need a pillow here, if your neck is straining, grab a pillow, make yourself comfortable. Yeah, good. Carrie, do you have that letter ball near you? Let's put that in between your knees. And then focus on squeezing that ball so you give yourself a center line. Maybe that'll help with the jitters. Yeah. Here we go, pulling in. Let's go one more time. Good. Nice. Now do a little bit of snow angel or movement in that shoulder. How does that shoulder feel now in comparison to right before this? If you want to do those snow angels on that side, hopefully you feel a little bit more freedom there in that shoulder. And we'll do the same thing on the other side as well. So again, skin to skin contact is best with this one, making sure that your fingertips, the tackiness of the fingertips on your skin is really great. We'll do a few with the hands just by your side, pulling the tissues down towards the center of your chest. And then when you feel ready, you can do the arm slide overhead. Okay. And those two things are sort of coordinated with one another. So the progression of how you're moving in towards your sternum correlates with how fast you're moving your arm up overhead. And you should sort of finish at the same moment. Yeah, good. Nice. Okay, we'll go maybe 2 or 3 more there. And last one. Good. And then just do some testing of that shoulder on the floor, noticing any sort of changes after that, just like single intervention there. It's important for us to constantly check in with our bodies to know which of these neurological, like these kind of like neuro hacks or self-massage techniques makes the biggest difference. And then we just know which one we need to do. We don't have to go through the whole sequence, right? Some of us are going to be responding to certain things better than others. All right, we're going to go into some bridging next. So make sure your feet are nice and firmly planted if they aren't already. If you do have a letter ball, let's place that in between your thighs. I think that was a really nice way to help us feel a little bit more connected. If you don't have a letter ball or it's out of reach right now, no worries. Just let it go. We can just keep the same movement and work through the same movement here. All right, collarbones nice and wide. If you can, try to get them open towards the ceiling. Press your hips up towards the ceiling and hold right here. We're going to reach your hands down on the ground. Try to keep your knuckles, so palms facing up towards the ceiling. Slide your arms out to the side and then up overhead, similar to what we did at the beginning of class, doing that little snow angel move. Once your arms come up towards the ceiling, we're going to articulate the spine coming down one vertebrae at a time. So upper back gets heavy and then rolling through the spine. Release at the top of the pelvis, releasing your tail, and then come on all the way down. Bring your arms again back towards your sides. We'll press the hips up, gentle squeeze on the ball. Snow angel those arms up overhead. Feel the opposition this time. Shrug the shoulders up towards your ears as you roll your spine away from your fingertips. Try to get length in your spine as you're articulating. So intentional about creating space between your vertebrae. Once you hit the ground with your tail, bring the arms down by your side, and we'll repeat a few more times. Arms down, press the hips up, arms slide up overhead, stretch the shoulders up, shrug them towards your ears, articulate the spine down, lengthening your spine away from your fingertips. And of course, the last bit there, I want you to feel the extreme of extension in your low back. Bring the arms down. We'll do that 2 more times. Press the hips up, stretch the arms up overhead, articulate down nice and slow, roll, roll, roll. Good, good. Bring the arms down by your side. And one more time here, palms facing up. We press the hips up, stretch the shoulders overhead, articulate your spine away from your fingertips. Shrug your shoulders away from the spine, away from your pelvis, and releasing the tail down at the bottom. Go ahead and bring your arms down by your side. All right, right here, we're going to take the arm that's closest to me, bring it up past your ear, and let your knees fall towards me and let yourself roll over onto your side. So you're going to be in a side lying position here with the ball still in between your knees. Can you keep it there? Yeah, good. We're going to do a little bit of work for your hip. I know that's not part of your shoulder, but full body movement, and it's all related anyways. Yeah. So working the stretch in your shoulder here, laying on your side. Okay. We're going to have the ball in between your knees. If you don't have a ball here yet, put a pillow in between your knees. We're going to lift your heel up towards the ceiling while keeping your knee still on the ball, and then release the heel down towards the other foot. Good. As you're working through this, we're trying not to change anything else in the body. All right. You're working the rotators of your hip, the deep, 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 deep hip muscles. Good. And right now, your knees should be about 45-degree angle forward. So not quite full fetal position and not quite fully underneath you, sort of, of course, as I said, in the middle of those 2 points. Okay. So working to spiral your thigh and lift your heel up. Nothing else in your body changes. We don't roll the ball back. We don't roll the ball forward. It's just a little gentle squeeze of your inner thigh down into the ball. Make sure it stays stable, and then return your heel down. Okay. If you haven't already, lifted your spine up, lengthening through the crown of your head. Don't worry about what's going down there. Try to use your sensory feedback, your proprioception, to understand what's going on in your lower body, or you can even use the camera if you're looking at yourself through the camera here. Let's go one more time. It's getting a little spicy in that hip. Yeah, good. And release down. We're going to take that ball out for a moment. Just place it off to the side. You will need it not too long of a time, so keep it close by. This top arm is going to press down into the ground, and we're going to press up into a side sit position here with our hands still on the mat. All right, so we're still in this side sit position. You're a little bit twisted off to the side here, kind of at an angle. We're going to bend the elbows so that they come in close to the body and then push away. So we're just going to be working on this push up. You can go fast, you can go slow, whatever you need to do during this time, whatever works, whatever pace you're at today. Keep the elbows tidy though. Work on keeping the elbows really close. So you're spiraling your elbow pits forward as you come down and up. Those elbow pits stay facing forward. Okay. We'll go 2 or 3 more there, getting all the way down, all the way up. Maybe you even peck the floor with your nose or your chest. Yep, one more time there. Good job. And then we're going to lower all the way down to the mat. Roll yourself over to the other side. Bring your ball with you. I'm going to just spin around so I can still see you. If you would like to still see me, just orient yourself on the other side. Okay, depending on where you are. Yep, great. All right, so knees are casted off at a 45-degree angle, right? So not full like fetal position and not fully hip extension, just a little bit of a 45-degree angle. Dorsiflex both of your feet, so your feet are stacked, and this bottom arm is ideally stretched out underneath you, so you get the stretch on your bottom side. Hand on your hip so it keeps you accountable. Let's go ahead and float the heel up towards the ceiling and then lower it down, tapping your foot together and then pulling that heel back up. Like I said, on the other side, we're trying to make sure that nothing else really changes in the body in terms of moving through space. It's just this thigh bone right here spiraling inward, manifesting in the heel lifting. And then the thigh bone spiral. So I did say lift your heel up. Of course, yes, that's what we're doing, but it's by way of spiraling your thigh bone. Okay. If you have the bandwidth, see if you can float your waistline off the ground a little bit and do that same motion with the leg. Good. Nice. Working to lift that heel up, keeping your knee connected to the ball that's between your thighs. Yeah. Bill, a little higher with that heel. You can do it. Get a little higher. There you go. Let's go about 4 more. 3. That's it. A little gentle squeeze. 2. And 1 more time. Good. And release. Nice job. Honestly, I forget. Did we do anything after that? No, we just pressed up. Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. Take the ball out of the way. Really? Why do I feel like we did something else? Oh, yes, the push-ups. Thank you. Push yourself up. I was going to say there was one more thing. Push yourself up into that side sit. Woo, brain fart. Brain training. Here we go. And we're on a diagonal here going for those push-ups. So bending down and then pushing up, pecking the ground with your nose or your chest. As I mentioned on the other side, we're going to keep the elbows close to the body when you lower down and then push away. Your elbow pits are facing forward and you're going to go for a depth and a tempo that makes sense for you. Challenge yourself, work those triceps, work those shoulders, build a little bit of heat. Now, I do want you to keep your eyes up relatively high so that it cues your body to stay in extension. So you're not dropping your head and doing your push-ups like this. You're keeping your extended heart and lifting through. Okay, we're going to go for about 2 or 3 more. If you're on my pace, there you go. And 1 more time. Great, nice job. We're going to go ahead and roll ourselves back into a crab position or a back prop position. So just roll those arms behind you. Good. Keep yourself elevated. Use your core as you transition. There you go. Hands behind you. We're going to go fingers facing backwards for this first one. Okay. Push through the heel of the hand to lift your chest up, open nice and high. And we're going to add a hip hover. You decide how high can you go. Hips are going to tap down, but keep the sturdiness in your shoulders. Push through the heel of the hand and bridge, and then return. Easy. Nice work. Push the hips up and then return. Nice job. Now, if you're feeling the jitters, you're going to put that ball in between your knees again. But you're looking good here, Carrie. Nice job. Pushing up, up, up. Push through the heel of the hand. Now, if we're going to add some vestibular training to this, what happens if when we push the hips up, we bring our eyes to the ceiling or maybe even beyond, and then we draw the chin down towards our belly button, and then the hips come down. Press the hips up, bring your eyes to the ceiling or maybe beyond, chin draws back to your belly button, and then return. You got 2 more. Push, eyes up, chin draw, and then hips down. 1 more time. Push, eyes, chin drops down, and then return. Nice job. Let's go ahead and go into a cross-legged position here. Note which leg's in front. If you want me to keep track for you, you're going to put your left leg in front. Okay. If you want me to keep track for you, put your left leg in front.
if this position for you, if you get here and you're like, knees are high and you're folded back, grab a pillow and put it underneath your butt so that you have a little bit more clearance on the ground, all right? We're gonna stretch forward here in your cross-legged position, stretching forward as far as you can. Again, if you need a little booty bump with a booster seat, take the booster seat. Don't be shy, check the ego. And then bring yourself up, and we're gonna bring the hands behind and then come into extension. All right, so we're just gonna work on the transitions from back prop to front prop. No? Yeah, there you go. And extend. Good. Back prop to front prop. Now, if you want to challenge the flexibility in your hips a bit more for this, we can go into a lotus. This is where the right foot would come more on top of your thigh. Okay. If you want to challenge the hip mobility, if like cross-legged was hard enough, stay there. I know some of you may want to experience what it feels like to be in maybe lotus for that stretch and then coming forward. Yeah. Let's do 2 or 3 more of these. Yep. Perfect. You tried it. You realized you didn't like it. No worries. And you go back. That's the beauty of this class. We get lots of options and you get to like choose your own adventure, right? All right. We're going to bring our feet back underneath us and we're going to do those tabletop bridges again. We're going to change the orientation of our hands though to give you a different stretch on the shoulder. We're going to take the palms, take the fingers and face them to the side. So last time we did it with the fingers facing back. This time we're going to do fingers facing to the side. Now, getting here may be challenging just to get here. So do your best. And if you get started and you realize this isn't working for you, you can go back to what we did in round 1, which was the fingers back. Okay, here we go. Same thing. Nothing else changes except the finger orientation. We're going to press the hips up, push through the heel of the hand. If you want to add that head drop, grab it now. Chin draws in first and then tap your hips down. Keep your extension and the support in your shoulders. Push the hips up. Let the head drop if it feels right for you. Chin draws down and then hips drop back. Notice that I didn't collapse in my spine at the bottom of that movement. I kept my spine lifted. Press. Eyes drop if you want it. Chin and down. Good. Push through those shoulders a lot. That's what's going to create the foundation so that you can get some more clearance in those hips. Beautiful. Good. Feel your big toe on the ground when you're pushing. You got 2 more. Lift those hips higher, Bill. Get up higher, higher, higher. Belt buckle to the ceiling. You can do it. Come on. I've seen you kneel before. You have that work. Good. And up. Push, 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 push. Return and release. Nice job. We're going to sit cross-legged now with the right leg in front. One side is always a little weirder than the other. And again, if you need that pillow, you know how to bridge, right? You can bridge, throw the pillow underneath, sit the buddy down and then go. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're just going to do that forward fold stretch with the legs in this orientation. It's very similar, just a little different orientation for your hips. And then opening up and coming into that extension, just moving through that. So not spending too much time in a stretch, just enough to let your body sort of give into it, but then keeping it dynamic. Yeah, and maybe just sitting in cross-legged is hard. Work for that, right? If that's where you're at today, work for just sitting in cross-legged. All right, if you want the extra bit, we're going to take that foot into lotus. I feel like this was the side I did last time, no? Okay, whatever. I'm losing it. I've already taught like 2 classes today. Up. And through. Good. We're going to go one more time forward and one more time back. Lovely. All right. Shake out those wrists because I know it's getting a little wristy. We're going to do those tabletop bridges one more time. The last time through, we're changing up the finger direction one more time, went to being in the most intense stretch for your shoulders. So see if you can get your fingers to face your body. which even for me is a bit of a stretch. So just maybe testing the waters there before we even lift anything up and just feeling how that feels in your body. And if we get going and you're like, nope, remember, you can always go somewhere in between that. There's like a gradient, right? Okay, so you get to decide where you want to put your hands ultimately, but I'm giving you this option to try if you've never tried it before. All right, here we go. Feet are pressing down into the ground, push through the heel of the hands and lift. You're going to get that big bicep stretch. It's so lovely. Chin draws out, chin draws in, and then hips tap down on the mat. Good. Don't let yourself go saggy in between those reps. Keep yourself engaged. Push through the shoulders. Good. And then hips come down, tap. Maybe you don't even rest. Maybe you just tap and go. All right. Especially for this last one. You're like, I know this is the last one. A little bit of strong finish here. Tap down, press up. Again, letting your eyes go up if that feels right for you. Working a little neck abs. 2 more. Get those hips up high, 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 high. Yep. And last one. Lovely. Nice job. And release. Come on up to a seated position. We are going to fold one heel in. If you want to be with me, you're going to go right heel is going to fold in and your other leg is going to be out. Now, if your hamstrings are pretty tight, you again may want to put a pillow underneath your bum. My mentor is British, so bum is just like part of my vocabulary now. All right, we're going to dorsiflex that foot quite a bit here, toes to nose. And if you can reach your foot, congratulations, that's pretty good. And if you want to give your foot a little massage and say, okay, this is where I want to activate, this is the top of the foot that I want to activate. We're going to slide your hand down the side inseam of your pants towards the ankle bone. If you get there, again, congratulations. Bring that arm, other arm up and over the top for a side bend stretch. Good. So you're going to use your bottom arm as a little bit of leverage to get the other arm up. There you go. And then return. And we're going to slide out on the other side. Bring your elbow to the mat. Your right elbow to the mat. And then come up and over to this side. I know, lots of core strength going on. There you go. Good. Bill, I would recommend putting a pillow underneath your bum. Slide your hand out on the ankle bone. A couple people popping in and out. We're going to bring the elbow down and then side stretch over to the other side. All right. So we're just going in between these two shapes. Side bending towards the ankle bone, cartwheeling over, elbow comes down, and we lift over the top. Okay. Sliding out and up and over. Good. And we're going to just use this as a little bit of a holding pattern. Some of us getting situated. Yeah. Good morning, Ilana.
So
Glad to make it.
the system, I can't believe it. Okay,
All good. Better late than never. I'm going to put you on mute. Is that okay?
please do.
Okay. Take your time getting ready. Warmed up. All right. One more time on that side. Beautiful. We're going to fold that leg in and slide the other leg out. Good. Bill, if you'd rather just do this on the mat, you can side bend like on the floor, like a little salamander. Okay. We're going to slide this hand down the inseam of your pants to your ankle bone, and we'll come over the top there. There you go. Try to slide your shoulders so that they get closer to your left. I'm sorry, I guess it depends on what side you're on. And then bring it on down, elbow to the mat and side stretch over on this side. It's just another way to direct the stretch, okay? We've talked about how overhead shoulder mobility, shoulder health has a nice relationship with your ability to move your spine. So the better you're able to move the spine, the better the shoulders are going to be able to move as well. They work with one another and vice versa, right? So the better your shoulders move, the better your spine's going to move. So I like to pair side bending, rotation, all that with the shoulder movements. All right, we're just going to do a couple more. There you go. There you go. Try to get that side bend too in your abs, like your spine moves to the side. Good. One last time over to this side. Good. And we're going to stay right here and slide this bottom leg out underneath. And now we're in this side plank-ish position. Okay. So if you're not already here, go ahead and roll over onto your elbow. And I think all of us have our left elbow on the ground. Yeah. Good. Dorsiflex both feet so that we're active all the way through the end of the line. We're going to push down into the ground with this elbow on the ground here, so much so that the rib cage lifts a little bit. And we're going to turn our world sort of sideways and upside down by bringing your ear towards your shoulder. And then we're going to let the ribs drop down towards the mat and bring your ear to the other shoulder. Okay. All while the motor to this is pushing down into the ground with your shoulder, lifting your ribs, letting your head lengthen, maybe even opening up the side of your neck here. And then letting the ribs drop and side bend this way. Okay. So some vestibular effect, especially if you lock your eyes on something in front of you and moving your body about that thing. Right? We've talked about the vestibular training before. Lifting the ribs up, maybe even bring the arm up, and then bringing the arm down. Good. In Pilates, we call this mermaid side bend. Mermaid side bend. Yeah, we'll do this one more time. Lift the ribs up and over the top, and then return. Nicely done. Bend those knees in and push off. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So however you want to transition there, if you want to do the fancy transition where you're still following me, or you can just log roll over to the other side. All right, so long legs. Your elbow is directly underneath your shoulder. Good. Your hand can be wherever it needs to be. Sometimes I like it here for a little feedback. Let's start with the dropping in. Let the ribs drop down to the ground and sort of letting this shoulder drop down. This ear comes to the shoulder. Then we lift the ribs up, coming into a side bend and letting your ear drop down to this shoulder. Go ahead and move through those two positions. So the ribs dropping down and your ear coming shoulder, and then ribs coming up and ear dropping shoulder. Nice work. And as I said on the other side, feeling that vestibular effect. So eye gaze locking into something and then you moving your body about that thing helps us calibrate and train that vestibular system. You want to get a little bit more dynamic with the arms, lifting the arm up overhead. And then bringing it down and then up, getting that head movement in conjunction with the spine movement. Good. Pushing down through that shoulder, lifting up and dropping down here. Very nice. Last one, we go up. Lovely. And return. Nice job. We're going to do a little bit of self-massage for the front of the shoulders now. So this is where you're going to grab your massage tools. You can use your letter ball as a minimum. If you have something a little smaller than a letter ball, like this orange ball is great. A tennis ball could work. A lacrosse ball could work. I think the lacrosse ball is a bit hard for what we want to do. But yeah, I know I'm such an advocate for release tools and such. You might think I'm a little bit wild for that, but these 4-inch balls are actually one of my favorites. They're soft enough that the nervous system feels like it's not being attacked, but a great size to fit in some of the kind of like pockets and areas that we want, like the shoulder or the hip flexor, the pelvic floor and the hamstring. So if you're interested in these 4-inch balls, I can put a link in the chat box. All right, so we're going to bring ourselves onto our stomach, and no matter what size ball you're using, it'll be roughly the same thing. We're going to take that ball into your arm, kind of like what am I trying to say? The front of your shoulder. And it should be fairly obvious, like it kind of fits in this little pocket between maybe like the breast tissue or the sternum and your arm bone. And at least for me, when I know that I'm kind of like in a good spot, I kind of just feel like my body oozes over it. So, millimeters can make a difference. Move around a little bit until you find a good spot. Now we're going to have the hands flat on the ground, and we're going to shift our body over to the left slightly and then shift our body to the right. Okay. So if our pectoral muscles were a guitar, we are strumming the guitar strings with our ball. Okay. Try to keep pressure on that ball the whole time. You may or may not feel kind of like the hurt so good feeling. If you have a softer ball and you're not feeling like, that like pressure, don't worry about it. You don't need to go super hard. In fact, some of these things you may not feel in the moment at all, but then when we go to do your check, you'll feel it. Attack of the puppies. All right. So finding a sweet spot there with the ball. We are now going to work through a little bit of mobility in your shoulder. Stretch your hand out all the way so that your palm is on the floor. And your other hand, by the way, for this one, you can either rest your head on your hand, or you can have it floating off the ground. So if your neck's tired, you can just rest your head down. I'm going to kind of keep my head floating so that you can still hear me. Slide your hand palm facing down towards your hips. And then slide your hand out to the side and bring it up as high as you feel like you can go, still keeping your palm facing the floor. Okay. You may feel some like little gnarly spots in there, but take your time going through these. Yeah. And throughout this little bit, if you ever want to just like switch up the location of that ball, I encourage you to explore, because again, like little millimeter changes in the placement of the ball can make a difference in your experience. All right, we're going to make this a little bit more nuanced. If this feels right for you and you just want to keep doing the palm facing down snow angels, go for it. Super great. Bring your hand down by your side if you want to add on a little bit. We're going to flip your hand up, actually. So the palm is now facing up towards the ceiling while it's at your hips. And we're going to hover your hand off of the mat and stretch it out towards your heels. So it's not just lifting the arm up towards the ceiling, but you're like sliding it down towards your heels. And there's going to be this energy that's going sort of back and down behind you. And then float your hand down to the mat. Float the arm up. And then float the arm down. Very nice. Float the arm up, collarbones wide, and float the arm down. Great. We're now going to bring the hand out to the side of your body. This time you're going to have thumb facing down. And we're going to lift the arm up here and then tap your thumb on the ground. Yeah. So you have the back of the arm, kind of back of the hand facing your ear. Yeah. Just up and down a few times, maybe 2 more. And last one. Good, good. And we're going to slide that hand as far up towards your ear as you can. If you're feeling pinching in the shoulder, you can do more of a Y sensation. This time the palm will be facing down and we're going to float your hand up here. Now, I have to put my head down for this one to do it in the best way possible, but if possible, try to keep your shoulder heavy on the ball, or like your chest heavy on the ball. So the only thing that really lifts up off the ground is your arm bone. Okay. And of course, you're trying to use your upper back, mid back
to lift those arms up. Hopefully you're not feeling it too much in your neck. And if you are, bring your arm out to the side just a little bit. 2 more. And last one. Good. Slide that hand all the way down towards your side again. And we're going to flip the palm over. So you have hand by your side, palm facing the ceiling. Hover your hand off of the mat here. We're going to bring your arm over the ground. So try not to let your hand touch the ground. As it comes out to the T position, it will spiral a little bit. Once you're in your T, the thumb should be facing the ground. We visited this earlier. We're going to bring the arm up again to your Y or towards your ears, and it will spiral so that the palm now faces the ground, if not thumb up towards the ceiling. We're going to work our way back to where we came from. Keep the arm hovering the whole time. The hand comes out to the side, T. As the hand comes down to T, we go thumb down. And then as the hand comes towards the hip, the palm goes up, right? Okay, let's do that a few more times. You can go as fast or slow as you'd like to go. Ideally, not too fast. We want to go slow so that we have that intention. And think about lengthening through your fingertips. So getting really long fingers. We talked about this: active hands, active feet, active length through the top of the head is going to make everything work. If your elbow is bending, let's try to work through that. Squeeze your elbow so that your elbow goes straight. That's it, reaching through the pinky side of your hand. Nice job. We'll do about 2 more of these. Good. And last one. Great. And then release. Let's take that ball out from underneath your shoulders and just lie flat on the mat here with your head on your hands. Take note of this position for yourself. Is this comfortable? Is this challenging for you to hold? Do you feel your body gripping or resisting the position? Can you settle in and take a nap? Could you meditate in this position? Yeah. All right, let's do that whole sequence on the other side, and it'll probably be just a little bit faster. So we're going to take that release ball and place it in your other pec area. Your head can be on your hand, or it can be supported in some way. And we're going to move our body left and right, strumming. Ooh. All right. So just anecdotal experience that I'll share with you. I've been having a little bit issue in the shoulder lately. And when I'm doing this here, because I put that ball right next to some nerves that supply the arm, I do feel a little tingling going down to my fingers, which is kind of a nice clue that, like, yeah, we're working some structures there that are supplying the arm. Now, I don't want it to get to a point where it feels discomfort or excessive, like, burning. Okay. If that's the case, move the ball to a little bit different location. You may be working that nerve too much. Another sensation that I feel, so I feel a little tingling, and then I also feel a flush, like I feel heat, and that's circulation. That's like blood flow. Good things, right? Good things, all good things. Hopefully I can get a little bit more relief in this shoulder. All right, find the sweet spot, and we're going to go ahead and start moving that arm around. Snow angels, palms facing down to start. And if you want to do that up level challenge, we're going to work through that together. Make sure I have enough space here. All right, so we're going to do those little isolated positions. So bring your hand by your side, flip the palm to face the ceiling. We're going to float your hand up off the mat, stretch it towards the heel, and then release the palm down. So we're just going to go little pulsing of this arm, lengthening through your fingers. Remember, we talked about lengthening through your fingers. That ball is barely out of reach, Carrie, of your fingertips, and your puppy's like, she's going to reach for it. And then no, she doesn't. And then she's going to reach for it. And then no, she doesn't. I know, right? All right, we're gonna do maybe 2 more on this low position and then we will move on. Go ahead and bring your hand out to the side. The thumb will face down and we're gonna go up and down here. Again, this whole time we're keeping pressure on that ball. Now, some of you may be working with a smaller ball, like anything like tennis ball, dryer ball. That's a small ball and you may feel that you're kind of losing contact with it. If that's the case, you can pad up that ball with a bit of towel and it'll sort of give you a little bit more height there that a bigger ball would give you. Okay. I didn't mention that on the other side, but if you find that true here, grab it. We're going to bring your arm now up towards the Y position with the palm facing down or the thumb up towards the ceiling and do pulses here in that upper position. This is super challenging here in this high position. So palm facing or thumb facing up or palm facing to the ground, somewhere in there, using your mid and using your mid, back, and scapula to pull the arm bone up. Let's go 2 more there. Last one. Now we pull it all together through the range. So the arm comes down by your side, palm facing up, hover the hand, keep the hand hovered. Now, as your arm comes towards the T, the thumb goes down. As the arm comes up to Y, the thumb comes up or the palm just goes down. So whatever range you can get there. Bring the hand back to your side, palm goes down, rotate the arm bone so that by the time you get down to your hips, the palms are facing up. Okay, so if you need those pit stops of like T, thumb is down and then rolling through that, take the pit stops if you need them. If you can coordinate it so that you land at the hips at the exact moment that your palm turns up, congratulations. All right, good proprioception. Let's do 2 or 3 more here with the arm moving here through that big reach and always trying to get longer in your arm, not necessarily cranking on the shoulder to get it high. Of course, if you feel the arm, the work happening a little bit more in your neck as you get more tired, you can limit the range of motion so you don't come up into that Y position quite as high. Let's go 1 more here. Yeah. Nice job. Go ahead and take the release ball out. Place the hands in front of you, forehead on your hands, and then just let yourself settle into this position. Ask yourself a few body scan sort of things. How does one shoulder feel towards the other? Can you lay flatter than you did earlier? Does it feel easier, more restful? Yeah. All right, so if we were to bring our arms out to the side, sort of like goalposts, and then turn your head so that one ear touches the ground. This is another good assessment to see. Again, assessing ease, right? Like how easy is it for me to be in this position, to stay in this position? Do I feel agitated? Could I take a nap here? Lift your head up and switch your ear to the other side. And as you go from ear to ear, you can go switch from side to side, take a little body scan and then switch. Play with also how high your arms come up towards your ears. So instead of being like 90-degree goalpost, but coming up maybe more towards a Y and still doing the arm switch. Ear switch, not arm switch, ear switch. Good. And then pick a side here that you want to roll to. So if your left ear is on the ground, you're going to bring your right arm up. I'm sorry. If your left ear is on the ground, bring your left arm up. Right hand pushes down onto the ground and you can roll directly over that shoulder, working on the mobility of that shoulder, clearance of that shoulder so you can roll all the way onto your back. You don't feel like you need to level change. All right. You've sort of shifted away from the center of your mat. You can move through that a bit here. Let's finish off class here in a hook line position, similar to how we started. One more way to assess shoulder mobility. Nice position here. Bringing your palms up in your hook line position and then reaching your arms up overhead. Okay, doing those snow angels. Taking a few notes for yourself. How does this feel now versus how it felt earlier? Both in how you feel during the movement, and then also a little bit more objective, what's the quality of the movement? Okay, so I asked, does this feel easy to you to do, or does your body feel like it holds tension when you do it? Do you get anxious doing it? Do you relax when you do it? What parts of your arm bone are now touching the ground that maybe weren't before? Or even the pressure, have you increased pressure? You know, the amount of touching that's happening on those bones or that skin on the ground. Let's finish with one more. And then pause for a moment here for a little bit of stillness. If this position is not comfortable for you, go ahead and find a position that feels comfortable to you. Turn your head right and left. If you'd like to close your eyes during this sort of cool down stillness, you can. And then let your head come to actual stillness. And I'm just going to be quiet for the next 30 seconds to let you settle in. I'll ask you to reflect on one drill, exercise, something we did today that felt really good in your body that you'll want to incorporate in your daily routine or try out again later this week. Just one drill that we did. Something that stands out in your body and your brain. And then kind of make a plan about how you're going to do that. When are you going to do that? Where will you do that drill? Next to what habit that you already have are you going to do that drill? Stack your habits. How are you going to use this information in your daily life? Go ahead and roll your legs off to one side and we'll push on up off the floor. Take a couple shoulder rolls here. And feeling good. Nice job. I'm going to turn off the recording. If you have anything you want to share with the group, we'll open up the floor.